Hi guys, this morning I read an article from the San Francisco Chronicle. It basically says that the home insurance crisis is getting worse in the city. If you think that the insurance company only drop policies in the rural or remote area, you're wrong because even in the city. Right now, we have, according to the report, we only have 823 homes in San Francisco that has been shifted to Fair Plan. Okay, out of 406,000 homes in San Francisco, so it's tiny, but there are few patterns that are kind of a concerning. The first one is with the old house. According to Census Bureau, 40% of San Francisco homes built in 1940s. Okay, that's a pretty age. And then some companies already saying that any house built before 1925, they will not cover. And other companies goes further to say that if any house, even if it's built before 1976, but if it has a electricity wiring problem, and they were not doing it. Okay, one of the issues is like uh, knob and tube wiring. That used to be a common wiring system before 1930. Was designed to for a light load of electricity, but it's risky to set on fire when there's a electricity load is too high. You may wonder why don't the homeowners or landlord don't fix it. Well, it is not easy, especially for the rental unit. If they have to replace it, the knob and tube system, then if it open means that you have to open the wall and then you have to ask your tenant to live somewhere else and then paid by you, of course, right? So I have a thinking that I think the state, especially with the budget in allowing, should give people some subsidies on replacing old electrical system because after all, this is good for the entire real estate market, good for the value for the entire state. So it's a good thing to do. It's kind of like an investment. One thing that I want to focus on is this problem. It's kind of interesting. That reminded me to my second step of home insurance revolution. I promised that we'll talk about this. This report mentioned one of the insurance companies that in San Francisco, they were dropping policies not because any problem with the homeowners, but because they don't want to too concentrated in this area. For example, in a neighborhood, if uh, 5 out of 10 policies are written by one particular insurance company, which called the Safeco, which is a subsidiary of Liberty Mutual, right? They will say that's not good. It's risky for us. So they're going to drop policy for that. That remind me that we need to change the model of home insurance. For years, for centuries, for decades, basically ever since 1752, you know, after Benjamin Franklin started the first insurance company in Philadelphia, the pattern has been, the model has been the same, that we have something called risk concentration model. What we need to change to is a risk sharing model. This is the big step. There's even more important than the first step. Remember, the first step last time I said is that to keep the insurance risk pool at least the same size, if not growing. So that's the first step. The second step is even more fundamental. You change the model. Unlike other uh, commentators or opinions that focus on a lot of things that we cannot control, for example, whether climate changes, inflations, regulations, that insurance cannot change, cannot do anything. I focus on the business model that we want to focus on. So this model, this step, the second step is to change the model to make the risk sharing easier to do. So you may want to say, what is the risk sharing? It's actually more familiar than we recognize. We have two examples in real life. The first one is the Super Bowl insurance. Super Bowl insurance, it's a big event once a year, right? It's a huge, huge number of people showing up. So a lot of risks. We either have a property risk and also life risk, right? So the way to do that is to have many, many insurance companies coming together to shape to have like a risk pool, and they share the risk. So some insurance will cover the stadium, some insurance will cover the parking lot, some insurance will cover the injury to people, those kind of things. So that's very they have been doing this. We've been doing this for years, decades. The second example, even better example, is the FAIR plan. You may think that a FAIR plan is a state-run. No, FAIR plan is not state-run. It's actually private syndicate. What is syndicate? Syndicate is basically a bunch of people, insurance company, getting together to share the risks for any household, any homes within the FAIR plan. So, for example, in California, if one home is had a wildfire, then everybody, all the insurance companies who are doing business in California, they are required by the law to join the share plan. So they will split the cost. So, for example, one home is totally destroyed and cost 3 million. Who is gonna pay the 3 million? Simple. They split the 3 million damage cost among themselves. How do they do that? Based on the market share. For example, the State Farm, let's say State Farm is number one, has biggest market share in California, then State Farm will pay the most. And then the other guys follow this based on the same principle. So this is not a really nothing new. It's been doing this for years. So we're going to talk about this next time.